everybody. We're going to let folks filter in over the next few minutes. So just wanted to say welcome and give us about a minute to let folks join us for today's exciting live web event on achieving mobile selling and power calling success with HubSpot and Kixie. See you in a minute. If you want to grab that last cup of coffee to get you through the afternoon, now's a good time. Grab a fresh cup of water, whatever you like. We'll get started in just a moment. All right, it is 12:01 and we like to roll on time. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. My name is Doug Wendt and I'm really excited that you've taken some time to join us live for today's program. I am the President and Chief Growth Officer here at Wendt Partners. We are a New York City based, globally serving HubSpot Elite Solutions partner. And I'm really excited about what we're going to discuss today, which boils down to this: how to get more done in less time to generate more sales. I can't imagine anyone in the B2B world for whom this is not a really hot topic. I think it's important for everybody. And you're going to see that we've really got some strategies and technologies, but also really smart thinking that's going to help make this incredibly impactful for you. So let me introduce our guest panelists today. Again, my name is Doug Wendt. I'm the Chief Growth Officer at Wendt Partners, and I am joined by Noah Lassiter. Noah is the head of our training operation, and we are really excited to have him join us. Noah spends his days just focusing on helping HubSpot customers who are implemented and trained by Wendt Partners get the most out of the software and out of their workday, making it happen in Sales Hub, Service Hub, Marketing Hub, and other HubSpot tools. So welcome, Noah.
Wow. Well, thank you for that introduction. I don't think I could have written that any better myself. So thank you so much, Doug. Like you said, I am a training specialist here at Wendt Partners. And today I'm going to show you all a little bit about HubSpot's mobile app and some things that I've gotten really excited about recently. So just to kind of set the scene for all of you and give you a little bit of a background knowledge about me. I have been in HubSpot world for a while, but before that, I was actually in several different sales positions, which is really, really cool. So it actually does give me a little bit more of an eye into the sales process. And I actually did do a little bit of door-to-door sales as well. So that is going to be about as mobile as you can get when it comes to the sales world. So I would tell you, I didn't have HubSpot back then, but if I did, oh man, I would have done even better than I already did. So
you wouldn't be here though if you had HubSpot.
That is
because
true.
You would have blown quota so sky high that you'd be like, I'm never leaving. I'm just making the money happen. So I'm kind of glad you didn't have HubSpot then, because it led you to HubSpot and Wendt Partners now. No, I'm just going to take a moment to introduce our other guest presenter here today, and then we're going to rip into all of these really powerful mobile capabilities and show you real world. This is real world demonstration. So we're also joined by David Gable. David is the head of sales and director of growth, and basically the superstar, awesome person behind the incredible growth of the team and the product at Kixie. Kixie is a specific power dialing, power selling platform. I would call it a power selling platform. And it is designed specifically for really deep integration. And in fact, basically living inside HubSpot with the HubSpot platform. We're a Kixie customer. We love the product. Everything that we're going to show you and talk about here today is stuff that we work with, that we live with, and that we've implemented for clients. So this isn't, this isn't pretend or demo databases, all that stuff. This is real world. We're going to get into the dirty details and see how it really works. So welcome, David.
Hey, good to be here, Doug. I love the intro. I think I'm gonna take to the power selling platform. Doug's huge on alliteration, so if you hear him use a bunch of 3 R's, 3 A's, 3 K's, that's his thing. So my name's David Gable. I'm the head of sales for Kixie. We're a Santa Monica-based software plattm.
He Doug just had to rub it in that he's in Santa Monica. I just have to.
I wanted to mention it. I wanted to, you know what I mean? The cool thing about this panel is you're going to learn from Doug how to crush crush all of your contact management and set up all your business processes and everything through HubSpot. Through Noah, you're going to learn how to crush all of that, all of your sales, all of your connections with prospects, and also existing customers while on the go. And Aldo and I are going to help you to basically level up your sales force, customer support force, whatever you've got. Basically, turn every one of your employees into 1.6 employees. You know what I mean? So that you now have 1.6 Noahs selling door to door, just absolutely crushing it. So,
in the
I'm super
next
excited to be
all
here.
hands team meeting, I expect to see 2 Noahs, literally 2 boxes with 2 different Noahs at the same time.
If
Let's
I could
also
clone
introduce
myself, I would have.
we're going to get you there. You're almost cloned, brother. Aldo Barbagiovanni, I wanted to welcome you, Aldo, also as an incredible member of the Kixie team, more of a technical and solutions architect, engineer, superstar. Aldo, welcome to today's webinar, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Doug. I'm excited to be here. I actually joined Kixie 4 years ago as an account manager, and then I moved into a solutions engineering role. And now I also work with the product team to sort of bring the customer use cases into the product and make it as good as possible for sales teams across the US. So I'm excited to be here today.
Sweet. Thank you, Aldo, and thank you again, David. So we're going to talk about 3 key things today, just so everybody kind of has the agenda top of mind. I call this a play in 3 acts. Our first act, Noah is going to walk through the mobile capabilities of the HubSpot platform. I'll set the stage for that in just a moment. Then I'm going to spend a little bit of time showing you a lot of the power calling and power selling capabilities that are natively available in the HubSpot toolkit. And then we're going to dig into how to supercharge that with the Kixie platform. So we're basically going to go A, B, and C. And by the end, you're going to be like, wow, this is an amazing set of integrated tools that, when properly configured and implemented, can truly achieve that 1.6 multiplier effect. It's real world. So let's set the stage here. You know, there was that whole period during COVID when mobile selling was like zeroed out and everybody was sitting in front of their screens. Of course, we're still just spending a lot of time in front of our screens and events like this. We're doing a lot of Zoom meetings, but a lot of people are discovering, including myself, that, you know what? Boy, is it nice to get back to seeing actual human beings face to face. I'm here in New York. I'm trying to make a commitment to at least 1, if not 2 days a week out in the field meeting actual humans. And as part of that, I'm discovering, you know what, I've really got to level up my game when it comes to doing all the things I'm used to doing with 2 clicks and a mouse and the mouse, you know, in front of the computer, but now I got to do it on my phone or my mobile device. The good news is that HubSpot, completely at no additional charge, provides a supercharged mobile application that is available on both iOS and Android. It works on the tablet as well as the phone. And it's going to give you a chance to see just how powerful HubSpot is, even when it's just in the palm of your hand, when you're in that mobile, whether you're doing windshield time and you're driving from account to account, whether you're more like me and you're doing subway time, doesn't matter how you're doing it. We're going to show you how to make it effective. So we're going to hand this over to Noah for a really exciting deep dive into mobile selling with the HubSpot platform. He's going to show it to us live. So, all right, Noah. By the way, I forgot to mention a couple housekeeping items. We will end the program sharp at 1 p.m. Eastern. Also, if you have any questions as we go through the program, just click on that Q&A button at the bottom of your screen here in the Zoom webinar, and we will keep on top of those questions. We generally try to answer them real time, but if not, we'll make sure to answer them at some point during the session. So please feel free to share and communicate with us. Last note, we will be sharing a recording of this program. So thank you again for joining us. You'll be able to share a copy of it with your colleagues who weren't able to join us today. All right, Noah.
All right. Thanks, Doug. I appreciate the introduction, everybody.
By the way, we had it up and now we lost it for a second there.
Okay.
It's all good.
Let's get it back up there.
Let's get it back up. You got it. So you saw a preview of mobile selling with HubSpot's mobile application, native for iOS and Android. If you can remember, here we go. There we go. Screen sharing enabled. The Zoomification of Noah has begun. This is the first step to making him 1.6 times himself. There we go. Brother, we're back in. Let's rock and roll.
Let's do it. All right, everybody. So first off, I do want to give you all kind of a couple of basic HubSpot app things, just to make sure that you're able to get around the app and operate it how you want to. When you first load into the HubSpot mobile app, you're going to see several different buttons here that you could hit. And first off, the most important one that we want to start with is going to be down here on the menu side of things. Now, this menu is going to look like a little bit of a hamburger down there at the bottom. I like to call them hamburger menus because we have 3 lines stacked on top. And over on the left side,
Quarter pounder with cheese, to be exact. Go ahead.
There you go. Or a Big Mac, right?
Or a Big Mac, yes.
So once we click on this menu screen, we're going to have a couple of different options, right? At the very top, we're going to see our home button, which we can go ahead and click on here. And this is going to lead us to our account. Now, the main ones that we're going to be using, however, are going to be under this CRM section right here. So very easy to operate, as you can see, back and forth, really quick and easy to use on the go, right? Just a couple taps to get directly to your contact list. If you want to get to your company's list, very easy. Just click on the menu one more time, and you're going to see all of your different CRM capabilities right off the bat.
And no, I just want to interject here. In addition to the records, you've got the tasks and a couple of things a lot of people underestimate the value of. One is that activity feed, which shows you the entire history in real time of how people are engaging with your emails and other communications, your documents. If you have prospects, are they visiting your website? What meetings have been booked using your meeting booking link? What forms people are filling out? This is literally like, you know, I'm stopped, I'm getting gas at the gas station, and I take a few moments and I'm able to see exactly what's happening in real time with all my prospects and critical contacts.
Absolutely. And one more thing to mention off of that too, if you do have the mobile app downloaded and you're configured in HubSpot in your settings with your notifications, you'll actually get notifications from time to time whenever someone does open your documents or, you know, opens an email, and you can set all of that up inside of HubSpot as well. So thank you for that important interjection, Doug. Don't know what I would do without you. So, yep, I'm back on the CRM side of things as well. When we're going into our companies, it's going to look very, very similar to our contacts. Now, I know in the past, everyone's probably designed a few views at this point. And if you haven't, you absolutely should, because they're going to be another thing that'll save you time. But what views are is that it essentially allows you to add different properties and configure what you are able to see from your overall list. So we'll be able to do this, configure these views on our contact side and our company side, as well as our deals side. It's actually very easy. If you see over here on add views, all I need to do is click that, and I'll be able to pull up any of the different views that I have here as well.
So as a use case example here, let's suppose that I want to see, you know, maybe I cover the SoCal market and I'm heading to Orange County and I want to see all my prospects with open deals that are in Orange County. I could set up a view like that. And then as I'm planning my day or I'm, you know, between meetings, I can go through and see just what's happening with those folks. So the opportunities here are extensive, whether I'm thinking of it in terms of all my activities or just my mobile selling activities as well. It really allows you to take the power of your CRM database and just zero it in to exactly what you need to work on today, right now.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, like we were saying, it can be contacts or companies that all these views are able to go into. Now, I do want to actually take a brief time to go directly into what it looks like whenever we click into a contact, because as we know, that's where a lot of the magic happens in HubSpot, right? All of our activity, all of our different actions that we can take. It's simple. All we need to do is click into a specific contact, or if we're not seeing the one that we want, we can simply use the search button down here in the bottom right. Now, all I have to do to search is type in what I want. I've been using Anya, one of our awesome coworkers over at Wendt Partners, as a test dummy recently, and using her record. So thank you again. Shout out to Anya here. But I can go ahead and search directly for that specific contact if I want to find it. And if I do want to pull up a little bit more information and see multiple Anyas, maybe there's a couple of different Anyas, I can search that information. And then it's very simple.
She already multiplied into 2, by the way. Just want to point that out.
Yeah,
Noah, you got some catching up to do.
Huh? Yeah,
I do, man. Yeah, I might have to message her after this and get some. So as you all can see, whenever we do click into our contact record, we're going to have a pretty much the very similar view to what on the actual website app. So over here, we're going to have our activities where we can filter to see different information, right? Maybe on the go, the most important thing for us to see is calls, emails, and notes. we can uncheck some of these other options if we don't want to worry about, say, postal mail, LinkedIn, or WhatsApp. That way we can filter this information down and really see what we want to see. Now, associations, something that I really preach on. It's very important to have your associations with your contacts and your companies. So you'll be able to see all the different associations when it comes to companies, contacts, deals, and even down here, these are going to be all of the custom objects that we have here in Wendt Partners. You'll be able to see those if you have custom objects as well. And lastly, this is going to be your contact detail section. On your 3-section view on your normal side of things, you'll be able to see the exact information you would normally see on the left side. Now, I do want to mention a couple more things on this contact record. All of these hot buttons up here at the top are going to work the exact same way as they would whenever you're just inside HubSpot on your computer. You can make calls directly and have that recorded. If you are on your cell phone, it'll record there and we'll be able to see that on the app. We can also send quick email. Like Doug said, maybe we're just pulled over on the side of the road, getting some gas really quick, and we want to shoot a quick email off directly on this contact record. And then one of my favorites is actually enroll. So what this is going to allow us to do is enroll people in sequences. Now, each of you should actually check your portal because this is a new public beta that we have rolling out here at HubSpot.
Yeah, and let me take a moment and just zero in on that because as someone who spent 25 years as a bag-carrying sales professional, I think a lot about how to use time efficiently. And when I walk out of and literally I just did this last week. So I actually went to close a deal in person. I'm over here in New York City. I went over to New Jersey. It's only 15 miles and about $35 in tolls to get from here to there. Welcome to Greater New York. And I walked out of the meeting and I knew I had about 15 minutes of fudge time built into my calendar before I needed to head to my next appointment. Sat down in the car. I happened to have the mobile number of the contact, the chief revenue officer, and we'd already communicated by text. So I texted him from the mobile app a quick note. Hey, great seeing you today. So excited to continue our partnership. Then I hit the enroll button and I enrolled him in a follow-up sequence, which allowed a whole bunch of things to happen with one click. First of all, I already had an email template set up, a thank you email from the meeting. It was really great seeing you today. Some additional details already pulled in. So that email goes out the door. In addition, it automatically set up a task for me to do a follow-up call 2 days later. And then a second email, if he hadn't responded to the first one, just saying, bringing this back up to your to the top of your inbox. Again, really excited about next steps. So I accomplished about 3 to 5 days worth of follow-up action, planning and execution and scheduling, literally by hitting one button for text, one button for enroll. I was done in 5 minutes. I had 10 minutes to spare, which was great because when I was at the gas station, I was able to grab an extra soda and a really good fresh hot dog before I went because I didn't have any lunch space that day. But real world, right? This is what we're trying to do. How do I come off as a super powerful, on top of my game, sales professional with gravitas and sophistication without losing time? This is how you do it. This is how you do it.
And walk out of there with a hot dog and a soda. Really, hot dog and soda enablement built right into the mobile app. Yeah,
darn right.
Exactly.
Especially when they were Nathan's hot dogs. I just have to say.
That's one of the great things about HubSpot is what it's going to do, especially on the mobile app, is it's going to save you time. And that's going to be time you can actually dedicate to going out and getting more sales, right? You can hit those more doors. You can plan more meetings. You don't have to plan time to, pull out your computer at the train station and send out a couple emails. We can do all of these things.
And wait 5 minutes for the computer to connect to the mobile hotspot if it works at all.
I can play on my
real
phone
world
hot dog spins, right?
Yes, that's right.
Hot dog warms. Well, yeah, that's super awesome. So we went over contacts, companies. We're also going to be able to go to our deals section through our menu as well and see all the ongoing deals. Also, if we are on the Android side of things, you can even change this to the list style view as well. So that is something that's
I love this. This is that drag and drop pipeline view. You're seeing all the deals you're working. And by the way, you have the filter capability as well. Right now, Noah's seeing all the deals in our system. He can select other filters. So he can see just the deals that we're working in different capacities and what stage they're at, who's working them, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's just not showing any because you're not assigned any. Awesome.
Yeah,
so Now we're able to see everything that's going on. We can click into them. So it gives you this really dynamic card view. If you're on just the phone and just have the narrow screen, it's going to show it to you in a horizontal column. You can just flick with your fingers left to right. It's super simple. We're showing you on the iPad, so you have a little bit more space here to kind of get a sense of it, but it's literally the same application. Let's spend a few moments on tasks, and then we're going to dig into next steps here in Act 2.
Absolutely. Yeah. So to get to our tasks, there's a couple of different ways we can approach this. If we want to see all of our tasks available to us, like our task home screen, we can go here to our menu and go over to our task section. I do want to show you something really quick as well that's very cool about the mobile app itself. This plus button is also going to allow us to do quick different items here on the contact, the deals, and the task side of things. So if we do want to just create a quick task on the go, we can absolutely use this plus symbol really quick and go in directly into our tasks and create tasks here. However, if we do want to see our list of tasks, we're also going to be able to create tasks there as well. We simply have to hit the menu button at the bottom, come over to tasks, and come from here, and we'll be able to see all the different tasks that we have here. We are going to have our different views just like everywhere else, right? Right now, my two views are due tasks and future tasks, and we'll be able to create them directly from this plus button down here as well. If we do want to come through and quickly complete a task right now, all I have to do is come over to this plus symbol and just check it, and it's as easy as completing that task.
Beautiful. Let me add, I know we had a question from someone that I wanted to address here, which was about task sync. And I'm actually going to answer the question visually. So I want to thank Lynn Simon for asking, do tasks sync with Outlook Calendar? Well, guess what? You don't have to take my word for it. The answer is yes. You can sync tasks from HubSpot to your Google or Outlook calendar. It's completely integrated, seamless as part of our Outlook sync. So absolutely yes. Great question, Lynn. And I think that really highlights, we're really trying to be thoughtful about how HubSpot operates in your larger ecosystem. I spend a lot of time talking with folks about email integration, calendar integration, task integration, Zoom, or GoToMeeting, etc. Yes, this needs to be the centerpiece of your overall communications ecosystem. David's like, you're setting me up for super success. Yes, that's correct, because Kixie is all about supercharging that communications ecosystem. Awesome. So again, thank you for a great question, Lynn. And thank you, Noah, for really giving us a super powerful, awesome highlights tour of HubSpot Mobile.
Absolutely. If you're interested in more, I do provide trainings. So.
Yes, we actually have a dedicated, not only do we cover HubSpot Mobile in our standard training programs, we also have a dedicated, what we call HubSpot Portal Success training extension, just specific to how to supercharge your sales activity using HubSpot mobile apps. So awesome. Thank you, Noah. So I'm going to take the screen here for a few minutes, and I'm going to talk about the powerful tools that HubSpot has been building into the platform. So we're back into the web app. And the reason that I want to do this is because I would say 85% of the folks that we talk to who are considering HubSpot, who are on other platforms, typically Blue Cloud platform products, or maybe, Alphabet Soup, which is my code word for Zoho. So, you got Salesforce, you got Zoho, you got all these products, right? Okay. And what you find is they buy that product, and then they buy this additional sales enablement tool. And then they buy this additional call recording and coaching tool, and blah, blah, blah. And by the time that they're done, they're like, they've bought 15 tools to do the core function of HubSpot. We like to reserve the add-on tools for actual things that add on rather than just do base functionality that should be in any quality CRM platform. So yes, we build an ecosystem solution. That's why Kixie is here. In virtually every webinar, we're bringing in a partner with an outstanding product that supercharges HubSpot. But that's the point. It supercharges HubSpot. It doesn't just finish the job that a CRM should automatically do. So I'm going to talk for a few moments about what you can do in HubSpot without anything else but HubSpot itself. Because honestly, this is pretty revolutionary in an industry that oversells and underdelivers on a day-to-day basis. So one of the big things that we've been talking a lot with people about is managing conversations and communications. And I think it's important to note they typically come in two forms. So one is your communications that come from many different digital sources. People chatbot on your website or your chat function, right? Your website chat, inquiry forms, people who write to, let's say, sales at or service at your company. All of these different, they might come through Facebook Messenger. All of those capabilities are supported in a unified inbox that centers in all of that and allows you to run a conversation management environment from all those different sources. And then if you want to go ahead and create deal records, create tickets in HubSpot Service Hub, you can absolutely do that. This is core functionality of HubSpot. It allows you to take the chaos of communication and bring it into the structure and order of a well-organized CRM. The other thing that you just saw, because I had a little pop-up, I found it interesting. A lot of people are a little confused about how much HubSpot's doing with AI, and we're actually covering AI in great depth in next month's webinar. But did you see that little pop-up that mentioned that AI tools are now embedded inside the conversations inbox? So weirdly, our competitors are like buying other people's AI products. And then they're saying, look, we have this AI product. What on earth is the point of that? Wouldn't it be a lot better just to have the AI embedded in your tool? So what HubSpot has done is literally built its own AI platform, okay, generative AI and analytics AI, and just put it inside HubSpot, which is 10 times better. But weirdly, it's hard for people to get their heads around because there's no place you have to go with a separate login that screams AI. Okay, it just happens. So one of the big things that we talk about, and obviously a theme today, is the importance of managing your calling activity. And HubSpot has a built-in calling capability. This is one option. Okay. HubSpot calling is very, very powerful. It's completely cloud-based. It's totally unified across all HubSpot users and types. And it allows you to place calls from your browser or from your mobile app and actually have this activity fully integrated in the platform. If you really want to take it to the nth degree, HubSpot calling supports inbound as well as outbound, as well as dedicated phone number management and calling minutes. So there's enormous power in this tool. Anytime you're placing a physical call or you're doing a web meeting in a jurisdiction that allows recording, it'll auto record it. It's smart enough to know, hey, in this state, we're not allowed to do that, so it won't. So you're staying legally compliant, but the calling capability is extremely powerful. It's one click. And, talking about one of the things that I think a lot of salespeople struggle with, actually just doing the calls. So one thing that you can do is in your tasks, you can set up a queue of just the calls that you need to do and just click, click, click and run those calls. So if I say, great, let's start these 23 tasks. Now, in my case, a lot of them aren't calls, but if this was a call to place, I literally just hit the call button and then it's going to take me to the next call, the next call, the next call. I call that getting salespeople in flow. You want your SDRs or BDRs, you want your AEs in flow. The more they sit and think about whether this is the right thing or whether they're okay with it or whatever, the more unnerved they get, the less effective they're going to be. You don't want them to sit around and think about it. You want them to get in and do it. And when they do the thinking, it's thinking about how to make it even more successful. This is literally like, those of you who remember an iPod playlist, you just hit next, 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 and it's going to run you through all your tasks. And remember, Noah showed us the ability to actually start this process from my car using that one click and roll in a sequence. We're going to create those tasks, set up those calls. Here I am doing it. In addition, inside HubSpot, we have complete call history. Calls are actually a dedicated object now in the HubSpot database. So this sits in its own place. We can run call analytics in the platform. We have intelligent call analysis to look for keywords, to look for conversational intent and benefit and balance between who's making calls, on the call, who's talking, who is listening, what the cadence is. Are there any keywords of concern? What was the overall result of the call? And you can create both automated and manually, or any combination of those, call coaching playlists. So take calls that meet certain criteria, find that call recording, whether you run a search or you set up an automation, open the recording, add to the playlist, and you can rock and roll as a sales manager working through, hey, Frank, it's the end of the week. I want to review 5 specific calls with you. 2 of them were super wins. I think I want to zero in on what went great. Two of them I know you had challenges with. One was kind of in the middle. Let's dig into that. You don't have to buy another piece of software. This is all inside HubSpot. This is standard functionality of the platform. The other tool that I think fits into this discussion is our playbooks tool. So playbooks allows you to create a training-driven flow of, it's this kind of conversation. Here's what I want you to cover. So I want you to qualify the opportunity. Here's how. And not only can you set that playbook inside the system at their point of need, but the user can actually answer the questions, and that data can go into HubSpot fields, into properties. So now you can actually drive automation and analytics, not only off of the conversation, but off of the actual flow of the meeting. These are just a few things, you know, I'm just hitting upon a couple of highlights here because it is so powerful, but everything I'm showing you, 100% of what I just showed you, our competition makes you buy extra products or extra add-ons for. 100% of what I'm showing you here is native HubSpot functionality. Notice I didn't log in anything. There wasn't any change to the navigation. This is all, guess what? When you buy HubSpot, you get HubSpot. So if you think about what we've covered so far, and I'm getting ready to now supercharge everything as we look at how Kixie takes this and scales it up to 11 for those who are good fans of 80s mockumentaries. You'll know what my reference is. We're turning the volume up to 11 here at Spinal Tap. The key is two things so far. Number one, whether you're in the office or on the field, you've got super powerful full function capability behind you. Okay, you're not limited. You've got it. It's there, and it's not buried behind 1,000 steps or 100 menus. This all took a couple seconds, a couple clicks. Number two, you're not having to say, geez, now that I got my CRM, I guess I actually need sales tools. Okay, HubSpot comes with world-class sales tools built into the CRM. That's why we call it Sales Hub. Okay, our competition's kind of afraid of actually using the word sell, I think, because they know they're terrible at it. They're terrible at both delivering sales capability and, quite frankly, at actually selling. But that's a side comment. I'll just leave that. Okay, the bottom line is this is why we exist. HubSpot exists to help companies grow through powerful marketing, sales, and service capability. We are world-class at providing a sales-focused CRM. So now let's talk about some use cases where we can take it up to 11. And one of those use cases is everything I've talked about, spectacular, rocking and rolling, but now we can really connect the dots and create some bespoke solutions for high volume, high impact, and fully automated sales processes. And with that, I'm going to introduce, again, David Gable and Aldo Barbagiovanni. How'd I do? I did okay, right? Barbagiovanni.
You nailed it. Wow.
All
I'm
right,
impressed.
boom. Sweet. Thank you both from the team at Kixie, and let's dig into what Kixie does to take HubSpot sales CRM up to 11. Gentlemen, welcome. David, you're on mute, just giving you a heads up.
I sure am. I want to get people excited. You know, let me give a little suspense in there. Just stick with the Spinal Tap references. We're going to help you build a software Stonehenge right now. And, what I like about everything we've talked about, I think it flows in a nice way. So you heard it from Doug, basically how we can take all of your sales processes, we can codify them and implement them inside of HubSpot, which is my favorite CRM. I'm not supposed to say that, but it is 100%. Unabashedly,
You're absolutely supposed to say that.
My favorite of the CRMs. It just is. And once you've done that, not only can you call straight from HubSpot, set up tasks inside of HubSpot, but you can also execute on that when you're in a mobile field, when you're out and about, just like Noah explained to you. And what we're going to help you do is address some of the issues that come up when you have a massive number of people you want to call. So, you know, Noah showed just alone in his CRM, he searched for Anya and he's confronted with 4 different Anyas. Okay, no problem. We'll go right through a task list and call those Anyas. But let's say he looked for Davids. There's a ton of us. You know what I mean? There's gonna be a bunch of Davids in that contact list. Or even more crazy, let's say that Noah wanted to call every solar installer in Southern California area who has more than 10 employees. Now you have a massive number of potential customers that you need to try and get a hold of. It's situations like those where being able to automate your calling and texting and take advantage of a bunch of complex advanced feature sets to help you be more efficient really comes into play. And that's really what Kixie focuses on. So we're an integrated calling and texting automation platform. And by the way, I speak pretty quickly. Aldo does too, and we're going to do that to conserve on time. But also, we're going to show you visually all this stuff. So hopefully it'll stick a little bit. So you've got a massive list of contacts. You want to automate calling and texting. Maybe you even want to sequence calls and text. So you don't get a hold of them on day one. You drop an automatic voicemail, and now you want to send them a series of emails through what Doug just mentioned, your sales hub inside of HubSpot and the email sequencing built there. But you also want to sequence calls and maybe sequence text messages and maybe drop an automatic pre-recorded voicemail if they don't pick up the phone. And maybe you want to do something even fancier, like they open an email and you want to trigger an automatic call that second that they open the email, because then you know you're calling them at the same time they're reading the material you sent them. That's the kind of thing that Kixie really comes into play and helps you guys achieve. So before I talk anymore, I'm going to let Aldo show you a little bit about what we do, and then I can talk some more in the end of it.
Awesome, David. Aldo, we are so excited to dig in. Man, David, what you described is like, that's not like taking one person to make them 1.6. That's like taking one person and making them 10. So
Yeah.
I am pumped. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Great. I'll go ahead and share my screen and I'll show you a little bit about how Kixie works with HubSpot. First, let's actually talk about our power dialer. And ironically, it's a 10-line dialer. I wish it would up to 11. Maybe we'll roll that out in the next iteration. I know, yeah, just to keep that going.
Yeah.
And we should see Kixie here on the screen with HubSpot next to it, like so. And let's go ahead and start resuming dialing. So this is really helpful if you just imported a list of new contacts into HubSpot and you want to dial through them efficiently. So let's get started. I will resume dialing. We can see my 10 lines are dialing. I just connected with the prospect. Here's the CRM link to HubSpot. So I can go ahead and click into that record right away, just in case there's additional information that I want to see. But I can also push pertinent information right over here so I can kind of have it accessible in the dialer as well. Now,
so let me just make sure everyone understands what you just did, because you did like 100 things in a second. You are outbound dialing 10 numbers. The first one that answers, now I'm in that conversation. Is that correct?
Right. Correct.
Awesome. So now I'm keeping my caller on calls.
Yeah. Well, the only problems with demoing this product is that it tends to connect so quickly. There's not much to demo. You don't get a minute to even sit in it. Because, it's dialing up 10 lines at a time. And when a human answers the phone, it's connecting your human to that human so you can actually talk, which is a novel concept these days. But that's what we're shooting for. Yeah.
Awesome. And then I just also want to point out, and then Aldo, I'll let you keep rolling. If you all see on that left-hand side, the Francis Cook, so that's the native HubSpot interface. You can see those two little red icons next to the phone number. That is the Kixie overlay. So literally the Kixie navigation is sitting inside your HubSpot. So while we're looking at all this, I just want to emphasize, in actual use, you're going to be able to access these tools literally with the visual cues that Kixie has layered into the HubSpot UI. Keep rolling, guys. Awesome.
And there was a quick question inside the Q&A section. I think I accidentally clicked answer live and then dismissed. So I wanted to answer really quickly live. and that was basically, can't detect the difference between a human and a voicemail detection. And I wanted to give you a quick update on some exciting development we have at Kixie. So we've been doing that through kind of a native Plivo, which is our telecommunications backbone plugin. But we actually have AI. I know everyone has AI these days, but we also are integrating AI to do it even better. Because the ultimate goal is to be able to not only avoid voicemail boxes, but also IVRs, phone trees, all that kind of stuff. And so you will be seeing an even more advanced version of what we have coming out very shortly.
Awesome. So the answer is that's a critical part of your existing and continuing evolution of capability.
100%.
Spectacular. Awesome. All right, Aldo. So keep rolling, brother. I'm just thinking about literally 10xing. I can't wait to see the 11-line function.
Yes. In addition to what David described, we also can log your HubSpot call outcomes from the Kixie Powercall dialer. So you can configure your HubSpot call outcomes in HubSpot like you're accustomed to doing already. Those outcomes are going to be available in Kixie. And if you're using call and meeting types, those will also be available in Kixie. So you can sort of subcategorize your calls if that's part of your process. And then when we push the call into HubSpot after the call ends, It's going to be pushed as a native call activity. So all of the great call functionality that Doug highlighted earlier in today's webinar, it all works with Kixie. That includes call analysis and the call libraries, any call reports that you've created, or any HubSpot call report templates that you want to leverage. All of that works with Kixie because we push as actual HubSpot calls into HubSpot.
And again,
So
in a way that differentiates us from a lot of other competitors or platforms you see out there, whereas whether it's like an outreach or a SalesLoft or other sales engagement platforms that Doug mentioned earlier are kind of filling in gaps within the CRM, they're also acting as mini CRMs themselves, right? So now you have two competing sources of truth, one who does it well and the other who doesn't do it very well because it's not really their core business model, but they're doing it anyway, and you're trying to sync data across. We abdicate all of that. Like, HubSpot is going to be our center of truth. It is going to be our contact management basis. And all we're doing is plugging and playing this. What did you call it, Doug? We're supercharging HubSpot through automating the calling and texting mapped on top of it.
Nice. Well said, David.
Awesome. So you could also see some previous calls here with the outcomes logged and also some SMS. So HubSpot recently rolled out SMS activities. Maybe that was about 6 months ago. So when we log our text messages to HubSpot, we log those as native SMS activities as well. So you have like a full comprehensive two-way functionality between Kixie and HubSpot. And as David pointed out, we let HubSpot do what it does so well, which is manage your contacts. And we add that functionality, enhance it by dialing through them, texting them efficiently. And I can show you a few more features that we offer as well. So this is what our multi-line power dialer looks like. And I'm actually prepping a quick workflow too, so I can give you some examples of Kixie actions that are native inside of HubSpot's workflows. And we can talk about really streamlining your process and making your team as efficient as possible and connecting with your prospects when they're showing intent and actual interest by engaging with your marketing materials, whether that's filling out a form online or opening an email. Any of those great enrollment triggers that HubSpot offers as part of their workflows can trigger a Kixie phone call or text message, which is really powerful. That way you're actually speaking with your customers when they're engaged. So enough talking, I'll drag this workflow over here. I was just finishing setting it up. So let's see here, great.
And while you're doing that, I just want to clarify for our audience what you're seeing here. So perhaps the most powerful tool in all of HubSpot is our workflow engine, our automation capability. And what David and Aldo are showing you, but I just want to call it out because it's easy to miss, is we are literally able to create Kixie actions from inside HubSpot's automation and use Kixie actions to create HubSpot automation. That's why you're seeing the Kixie icon on these tasks or these actions. This is inside HubSpot's automation capability. Back to you, Aldo.
That is
what's
correct.
Cool, you see him setting up a trigger right there in the very beginning. Right. And what's so novel about our approach is when you're using a typical sales engagement stack, whether it's with the Alphabet Soup CRM or Salesforce or whatever, what you have is a very prescriptive sequence of calls, texts, maybe emails, not a dynamic one. What I mean by that is you typically set up a sequence and it goes something like this. It goes call Monday, text on Tuesday, call again on Thursday, email next Wednesday, that kind of thing. But when you call on Thursday at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, there's no particular reason you're calling on Thursday at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. It just showed up on your sequence. Like, it doesn't mean that person is ready to take your call at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, or it's even a good time to call them, or it doesn't even know what's happened between that Wednesday and that Thursday. It's an arbitrary date and time just built on the sequence.
Right.
But instead, you have a CRM, and hopefully it's a good one like HubSpot, where you have all this data flowing into it. I mean, just taking HubSpot alone, you know if they visited your web, and if Doug set this up, trust me, you will have known if they visited your web page, if they've engaged with your chatbot, if they sent in a text or an email or responded to an email, or even opened a video that you've embedded in the email and sent them. You have all this data coming in. And what do you typically do? You call them at Thursday at 2 p.m. in the afternoon because in your sequence, you're blind to all this data coming in. What's going on here? So instead, what Aldo's doing right now, he's setting up a trigger. So it's like, hey, look, the minute this person opens this email or starts playing this embedded video for 15 seconds or more, or the minute they send me a text message, now I know they're at their mobile phone. They're engaged with the video I sent them. They're reading my email. Now is a good time to call them, not 2 p.m. on that Thursday, but right now. when they're engaging in this action.
I am now going to cancel all of my tasks that show up on Thursdays at 2 p.m. because I recognize the fallacies of my ways. Yes. So I think you've hit upon something that's really important to emphasize across the board with all of these capabilities, which is we don't want it to be robotic. We want it to be dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There are two important things that every sales team needs to do. Number one, reach out, initiate, right? And we've already seen, geez, we can initiate and keep people on the phone talking to folks through Kixie's capabilities, and it's all going to be natively capable and available in HubSpot. Okay, that's awesome. Then the second thing that supercharges that even further is to be dynamic. That is based upon what people are doing. Give them a call, send them a message, do a thing, and do that thing, as personalized as possible and as point of appropriateness as possible. Aldo's like, perfect, because I'm building this workflow right now. Go for it.
It's like,
show us what the master has done.
And really what I'm doing here is setting up a drip. So this drip begins based on some kind of action on the customer side or on the prospect side. And then we want to continue following up with them over the next several days. And so you're probably already familiar with delays and action steps and setting a workflow goal, like maybe if the status changes, we'll take them out of this workflow. But Kixie incorporates right into it. And also take note that we can incorporate your HubSpot contact property tokens into the messaging so you can be personalized, you can be specific. If they express interest in a particular product, you can reference that product as long as it's stored in your CRM. You can introduce yourself as their point of contact, all in these messages. And we actually send messages in two different ways. If you have an assigned contact owner, if there's some kind of relationship already between a specific rep and your lead or your customer, we can make those messages come from that person specifically with their own information. Another really powerful feature, especially if it's a new lead and you're really concerned with contacting them right away, is we can send a text message and trigger a phone call, not from an individual agent, but from your entire team. And what ends up happening is when they respond to those messages, they go into a team SMS inbox that everyone can have eyes on, and that way someone can respond right away. The idea there is if someone's not working that day, but your lead texts you back in, you want to be able to have someone respond and sort of get them to that next stage of the process. And that's what this really caters to and does very well. It's also really good for support teams. If you just want to provide your customers with a phone number that they can call or text at any time. We offer advanced functionality like inbound call queues, which is something that we sometimes forget to talk about with all these wonderful sales engagement tools. But if you have a team that's outbound prospecting, or you have a support team that's handling a high volume of inbound calls, there's a call queue functionality out there that helps facilitate that, places your customers on hold, let them know what place they're in line, when they can expect to get a call back from you. If they text in, your entire team sees it. And so what I'm showing you right now is an automated text message from the contact owner, but we can change that up if we'd like. We can also just have an automated message come from an actual team of agents. And that's what we mean by send SMS from a team inbox. All the functionality works the same way. You can reference those same contact property tokens. The only difference is you're designating that it's coming from an entire team. And so we can be very flexible in terms of how we distribute phone calls and text messages. And I think one of the big value adds of the powerless functionality is that we're sort of automating the distribution of phone calls. I've worked in call centers myself for many years, and I remember that managers had to manually handle those lists. The East Coast list is shutting down because it's 6 p.m. on the West Coast. So now we need to automatically roll in the central time zone leads and so forth. Kixie has tools to automate all of that for you. So all you really need to worry about is sending your HubSpot contacts to Kixie. Let us distribute the phone calls and the text messages, push all that data right back into HubSpot. We can also remove contacts from these processes, right? So I already mentioned enrolling into power lists, but what if the contact reaches a certain stage of the pipeline or a certain lead status where they should no longer be receiving calls? As important as enrolling your contacts into these automated features, we have removal actions. So remove from a given power list or remove from all power lists. Maybe they've said, hey, I prefer to talk over email, or maybe they already scheduled the appointment and we don't want to keep reaching out to them to set an appointment. So we take cues from HubSpot in terms of when we should be calling and when we should stop calling. And then we feed key data back into HubSpot as native call activities and native text functions, allowing you to leverage all the other rich functionality that HubSpot offers for these tools.
It's cool. I like what he just mentioned. He was
That's
talking
12.
About,
okay. Yeah. We're at 12 now. Go ahead, David.
We overshot it, huh? Yeah. What's so interesting about that is he's mentioning a lot about responsiveness, whether it is being able to respond from team SMS, whether it's being able to respond through PowerList to all the different customer inquiries you're getting in rapidly, or whether it's being able to do a clever workflow. Like every time I miss a call, I want to auto text back out that person right away saying, hey, this is David. Sorry, I missed your call. I'm probably stuck on a webinar or another call. I'll call you back as soon as I can. Here's a Calendly link to schedule time to talk. All that responsiveness, it's so funny. I think as I'm thinking about it now as a person, I hold other businesses that I interact with to a standard that oftentimes I think we fail to hold our own businesses to. So, if we as a manager or as a business owner or whatever, as a individual within an organization, you look at your response time, you're like, oh, look, I got back to this person within 3 to 4 minutes. That's great, But if you're in a chat room trying to get a hold of a support agent, or if you're on Amazon trying to find out what happened to your package, 3 to 4 minutes is an interminably long time. Now we might as well be waiting for Stonehenge to come back, right? I mean, that's a crazy amount of time to wait. Right? my patience is so small. So I think oftentimes it's a failure to hold ourselves to that same level of responsiveness and efficiency that we hold other businesses to all the time. And so what Kixie does is allow you to do that without having to hire an Amazon-esque Salesforce or CS force, right? In order to get that response time up. We can do that automatically through clever workflows like the one Aldo just demonstrated.
David, I'm going to double down on your point. When we do a lot of growth consulting, and every conversation with every client always starts with, well, the one thing we do great is customer service. Okay. And they believe it, and they're trying, but the definition of great client or customer service has changed so rapidly and so dramatically that, I expect I'm going to talk to somebody right away. If I text, or if I'm on the website and I send a message, or if I'm on Facebook Messenger, or if I tweet, or if I communicate via Instagram, whatever channel it is, I expect someone to get back to me instantaneously. And with small teams or even medium-sized teams, it's very hard to cover all those bases. You're making it possible to actually say, no. We don't just think we're delivering an outstanding customer experience. We actually physically are, because we've multiplied the power of our team and made sure nothing slips through the cracks, both outbound and inbound. So one thing I want you guys to spend a moment talking about, because I know how important it is this ability to use the action of the prospect to generate an outbound call that's automatically dialed through the Kixie platform and put the AE or SDR in the phone. Can you just walk through that for a moment? And then we'll take a couple questions, because I know we're getting close to 1 p.m. Time flies when you're having fun.
It is, isn't it?
Aldo, do you want to take that one, or David? Yeah, I just want you guys to walk through that automated callback scenario that I think is so amazing.
Sure. So we have a couple different ways that we can trigger this. One thing I want to point out is if you're receiving inbound calls and you're missing them, or you want to give your customers an option to receive an automated callback, instead of having to wait on hold, we have some features that offer that. Give me 1 second. I'll pull up the actual dashboard where we can show you where that stuff lives and how it's set up. And I also want to talk about the way that we actually add notes to phone calls, things like missed call status or answered call, that we can actually trigger calls through HubSpot workflows as well. So I'll walk you through that as well.
And so we can trigger calls as he pulls that up from everything. A great example. So the beginning of your funnel, you have someone inquire on your website and fill out a piece of gated content form or just an inquiry, like you just mentioned, Doug. We can automate a call right that second, the second they fill out that question and answer form, so they can get a hold of them right then and there. And if they don't answer, no problem. With one click, you can drop an automatic voicemail that just says, hey, so I filled out the form, calling you right back. And then you can automate a text message a couple minutes later just saying, hey, wanted to shoot you a text too, in case you're one of those people like me who often doesn't have time to make a phone call, but loves communicating via text. And we can do all of that through a workflow like the one Aldo is just setting up right now.
So you had two things I just want to briefly call out. One is the power of voicemail drop. So, we use that. We love that. The whole ability to say, I reached a voicemail. I'm going to leave a nice message, but I hit a button that the message is being left by the system for me while I go to the next. The research does show that hearing your voice today even in a few seconds of a voicemail before they skip to the next, will help them have greater recall when you do reach them live. It's the psychology, it's real. So that voicemail drop is super powerful because I don't have to lose time, but I gain long-term benefit in terms of the ultimate connect. And then the second thing that you're talking about is it's not just me going outbound. The system will actually outbound me automatically. So in that scenario, is that it's going to happen for, I'm sitting at my desk and making outbound calls using Power Dialer, and Power Dialer is going to automatically notify me that I am now doing this call. Is that how that works?
That's exactly right.
Flipping spectacular. See, again, we're going from proactive, which is the first critical step, to dynamic, which blows this all into a whole nother level of awesome. Absolutely. Aldo, you are busy. You're incredible. You're like, it's like watching a technical wizard do an implementation in 30 seconds. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what? We've done a lot of implementation here at Kixie. One of the things that we do, in addition to offering a fantastic product that integrates really well with HubSpot, is actually helping customers set up HubSpot too. So we're always happy to help implement Kixie inside of your HubSpot environment. I spend quite a bit of my time at Kixie doing just that. So these workflows sort of like come off the back of my hand now. What I've just set up here, though, is a trigger that would fire a Kixie text message or a phone call based off of a missed call, to not just to any number, but to maybe my support team's phone number. So if I wanted to track how many phone calls a certain phone number receives in HubSpot, or if I wanted to trigger some kind of automation that kicks off when a certain phone number is dialed, I can do all of that right here in my HubSpot enrollment triggers. And because we're actually logging everything as native HubSpot calls, again, that's the true power of why we do it that way, because then we can leverage all this other rich functionality that HubSpot's offering and build off of it and make an even better product that way. And so here's a great example of how that works. And also in the Kixie dashboard, where you can configure some of these call configurations, you can see here that we can do things like play estimated wait time. Like, how long should you expect to be waiting for someone to answer your call? Do they want to receive an automatic callback? They can just hang up and press 1 and they'll get their call back when it's their turn from your next agent, just like how we send out an automated phone call for powerless dialing and all those other things. So we can really trigger automated phone calls and text messages off of any event to cover a wide variety of scenarios. And this is just sort of like a few tools that I think we even take for granted because they seem so basic to us, but just having call queues that also integrate with HubSpot and being able to automate your callbacks and control your lead volumes that way, I think is all really critical and really fun stuff to set up too.
I'm going to hit on something that I think both of you have put a pin in, and I want to just double down on it. And that is the importance of the SMS piece of this equation along with the calling. Most people think of those as two completely separate things. And in today's world, they are not. A significant portion of the calls you're going to make are going to be to mobile phones, or they're going to roll over to mobile phones. And I can tell you, in the last year, the percentage of decision makers who have said, look, if you really want to reach me, text me, has gone from maybe 10% to like 90%. So literally, we're still doing all the other methods. We use email for the detailed, thorough communication, the updates. We're still calling. Nothing ever replaces voice. We're doing all those things. But when it comes to, hey, I wanted to ping you, we're still set to chat today at 2. And by the way, did you have any questions I should prep beforehand? That sense of personalization that comes from that intimacy of the conversation, is just the two of us texting. That is now the new superpower. So the fact that we've got texting, SMS, both individual, one-to-one and automation supported, as well as calling in the same capacity, that is just, we are blowing the doors off. Any sales team that is trying to reach and engage decision makers in B2B has to have these tools. If you're trying to do this at any kind of scale, has to have these tools. That's the world we live in. I get told all the time by CEOs, because when I'm involved, I'm usually talking to a CEO. They're like, my inbox is, I'm buried in my email. I'm buried in Slack. I'm buried in internal chats. I'm buried in everything. I'm even buried in text, but I read the text.
Yeah.
And if you text me, I will respond. And they're like, and I do it with my team. I'm like, if you really need to reach me, here's like my last hope, right? Because everything else is so busy. So you do all those things. They get the visual cue. I find that the email gets the information across. The text is the actual validation. It's the actual conversation. And the phone is how we build the relationship. Boom, boom, boom. I know we're at 1 minute. Closing comments from the Kixie team. Back to you, David. What's the one thing you want everyone to remember from today's program?
Call Wendt partners. I think if I had one thing to do, if I had to leave it on one note, I really would, because that's your entry point to all of this. Think of it like an automation engine in and of itself. You call Doug Wendt. He's going to help you get set up with HubSpot. His team is going to help you implement HubSpot. They're going to help you set up the mobile app. They're going to help you move and sell both within a stationary position of your office and also anywhere out in the world that you happen to be. And I guarantee if you have calling and texting needs, they're going to loop us in, and we're going to help you guys automate all of that as well.
You got it. And I'm about to give everyone, for those who hung right to the end, here's my cell number, 703-628-4157. That is my cell number. It's not pretend. It is direct to me. Text or call me. I want to thank Noah, David, and Aldo. This has been an incredible session. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us during an hour of your busy day. Have a great day, everyone. Join us next month as we continue exploring the power of HubSpot. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for having us.